Hey everybody, welcome to the patron-only video for this week. We are going to talk a little bit more about slap banjo, which turns out to be a very polarizing topic. I did get some private messages that said that slap banjo was the ugliest technique that they had ever heard on the 5-string, which that's really saying something because this thing can get ugly fast, as we all know, as our loved ones know very well. The other group of people who wrote to me said that they loved the technique. One person said that that video unlocked the technique that they had been chasing for years. They didn't know how to do it, and finally they can do it. So that is really cool. I like techniques that are filled with character, and that certainly is one of them. Character isn't for everybody. It's certainly not for every context. So take it for what it's worth. If you love it, that's great. You're like me. If you hate it, that's fine too. I can totally understand why you would hate it. It's dirty, it's gritty, and that's not for everybody, and I totally get that. For those of you who think that this technique is either the ugliest technique that they've ever heard, or that it's just not a technique that they can see any practical use out of, let me argue the point a little bit. Even if you're not planning on using slap banjo technique, learning how to do the slap can help you gain thumb control. And the interesting and kind of ironic thing is that the more thumb control you have, the less likely you're going to slap that string by accident. And I did hear from a bunch of people who said they do this technique all the time. It's just not intentional, meaning they're slapping strings by being a little bit sloppy with the way they're handling their thumb. So if you take anything out of this lesson, if you plan to never use slap banjo in the future in your banjo career, at least take from it the importance of thumb control. And if you practice loud notes with the thumb and soft notes with the thumb and get really consistent about it, you can make sure that you never slap the banjo in the entire course of whenever you play the instrument. So there's that for you. Okay, let's just talk about, this is our last video on Let Me Fall. So I wanted to show you guys how I would put slap banjo into Let Me Fall. I like to put slap banjo in on drop thumbed slides. So let me demonstrate how that's going to work. Now, what if I wanted to slide on that string and not make it slap? Well, I've just got to be really careful with my thumb because I've lowered my action with the capo, so already it's prone to a slappy sound. Let's see if I can make that a pretty version of what I just played. So yeah, it sounds a lot prettier that way. So it loses its punch, its impact when I don't do the slap, and it is still a usable technique. So if anything, you can take this drop thumb slide and put it into your own playing. All right, let me show you how this works within Let Me Fall. It's a little bit milder form. Now let me rage a little bit. So that is a little extreme. Again, like I said in the other video, I don't know how much I would abuse the slap like that in sort of a performance or recording setting. I may not overuse it as much. I think when you discover a technique like this, it's easy to overuse it and overplay it. And one thing that it sort of goes along with playing old-time music is you don't want to be overplaying because it doesn't fit the genre really. So overplaying is something I associate with bluegrass. I know there are a lot of bluegrassers in the audience, so I do apologize. I love bluegrass music and I love that kind of technical showmanship. But in old time, when you discover a technique like this, it's like a little precious jewel that you just show a little bit of sparkle of, and then you put it away and you hide it away, because it's better to keep it simple and groovy than it is to sort of overplay and display all of your chops. So use it judiciously, and if you don't love it, still learn it, or at least know it's there so you can gain thumb control. And let me just cap this off by saying we are done with Let Me Fall. We're going to move on. I'm going to introduce a new tune this week. I'm really excited about it. It's another one of my favorite tunes that got me into old time in the first place. But I want you to take this home with you from Let Me Fall. One thing that I think stands out, especially in Kyle Creed's playing, is his thumb. And that's why I wanted to cap the Let Me Fall lessons off with this slap thumb, because it requires an incredible amount of control and discipline with the thumb to get it to go right. So what Kyle Creed brings to the table to me, if I were to sum up Kyle Creed's playing in one word, something that we can glean from his incredible recordings, is his use of the thumb. And I think a lot of players tend to diminish the thumb. They're afraid to make it too prominent because they consider it just a drone or a rhythmic device. But Kyle Creed, you can hear from his playing, he's got so much control. The thumb is a feature of his playing. It's really one of the most interesting things about his playing, the strength and discipline that he has with his thumb. So I hope you go back now with this insight and look at the Let Me Fall material with a new set of eyes. And then we're going to be starting our new module this week. I'm going to try to get the video done by Friday. I am immersed in editing, but I'm thinking it may not drop until Saturday. I hope you guys are cool with that. So thank you so much. Thank you to all the new patrons who have arrived in this last week. There have been a bunch of them. Thank you to all of you who have bumped up to new levels of patronship. I really, really appreciate it. And there are even some of you who have pledged above and beyond what I even offer as a tier, which blows me away. Thank you so much. You are the reason why I can do this. And I will see you this week on a full episode of Banjo Quest.